Most men walk into the arena of attraction blindfolded, swinging wildly at shadows, only to wonder why they end up bruised and alone. Picture the average guy, heart pounding like a war drum, spotting her across the crowded bar, radiant, enigmatic, a siren in the digital age of swipes and superficial glances. He approaches, words tumbling out like spilled coins, desperate for her approval. And in that moment, he seals his fate. But what if the real battle isn't with her indifference, but with the invisible chains of his own unmastered impulses? In this unforgiving landscape of modern dating, where evolutionary instincts clash with societal illusions, countless men sabotage their own conquests through subtle, self-inflicted wounds. These are the 7 common mistakes that strip away masculine power, turning potential kings into beggars at the gates of desire. Yet, understanding them isn't just awareness. It's the forge where true attraction is hammered into existence. Consider the first grave error, approaching with the stench of neediness, clinging to every word and gesture. In the wilds of human connection, women are wired by eons of survival to detect desperation, like a predator senses weakness. The man who lunges forward, eyes wide with validation hunger, broadcasts his inner void. He compliments excessively, laughs too eagerly at her every quip, his body language screaming, "Please, fill this emptiness in me." Evolutionary psychology whispers the truth. Attraction thrives on polarity, where masculine strength meets feminine receptivity. But neediness inverts this. It repels. For no woman desires to be the crutch for a man's fragile ego. Marcus Aurelius, that Stoic emperor of self-mastery, warned against letting external desires dictate one's peace. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. Yet, how many men ignore this, chasing fleeting affirmations instead of cultivating an unshakable core? You, watching this, feel that familiar pull, the urge to text her immediately after a date, to overanalyze her every response. Stop. Detach. True confidence isn't performed. It's the quiet certainty of a man who knows his worth doesn't hinge on her reply. This leads seamlessly into the second pitfall, failing to read the subtle dance of social cues, those unspoken signals that govern the rhythm of attraction. Women communicate in layers, their bodies and eyes revealing volumes before a single word is spoken. The oblivious man barrels ahead, ignoring the crossed arms, the averted gaze, the polite but distant smile that screams disinterest. He persists, mistaking persistence for persistence's sake, blind to the red pill reality that force erodes desire. In the 21st century jungle of apps and instant gratification, social proof reigns. Supreme women are drawn to men who navigate crowds with ease, who command respect without demanding it. Evolutionary dynamics play out here. High-value males demonstrate calibration, adapting to the ebb and flow of energy, never forcing a connection that's not reciprocated. Epictetus taught that we control not events, but our responses to them. So, why do so many men charge into rejection like moths to flame? It's the illusion of control, the fear of walking away empty-handed. But imagine yourself in that moment, pausing, observing her micro-expressions, the way her posture shifts. You adjust, you lead with poise, and suddenly, the dynamic flips. Attraction isn't begged, it's evoked through attuned presence. Compounding these errors is the third mistake, pedestalizing her, elevating a woman to goddess status before she's earned it. This archetypal blunder stems from scarcity mindset, a relic of evolutionary times when mates were rare. But in today's abundance of options, it reeks of low self-respect. The man who idealizes her beauty or wit, showering her with unearned adoration, diminishes his own value. He becomes the supplicant, not the selector. Forgetting that sexual polarity demands balance, masculine frame meeting feminine allure without surrender. Seneca's wisdom cuts deep. It is not the man who has too little, but the one who craves more. That is poor. In modern scenarios, this plays out in overinvestment, buying drinks for strangers, agreeing to every whim, all to avoid the sting of potential loss. But you, deep down, know this trap. You've felt the resentment build when she flakes, because you've given too much too soon. Break free, set standards, approach as an equal, testing her worth as she tests yours. Authentic attraction blooms in mutual respect, not in worship. Yet, even with awareness, men stumble into the fourth error, lacking genuine confidence. That bedrock of masculine allure, not the brash facade of pickup lines memorized from forums, but the deep-rooted assurance born of self-discipline and lived experience. The hesitant man fumbles his words, his voice cracking under the weight of imagined judgment, revealing an inner turmoil that evolutionary cues interpret as weakness. Women, attuned to strength for protection and provision, sense this fragility and withdraw. In the red pill lens, confidence is currency, its social proof embodied. The man who holds eye contact, speaks with deliberate calm, unbothered by outcomes. Marcus Aurelius again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Picture the club scene. Phones glowing with distractions. The confident man stands apart. His presence a gravitational pull. You can be that man. Challenge yourself, embrace discomfort. Build through rejection. For each, no tempers the steel of your resolve. This ties into the fifth mistake, over-complimenting, drowning her in praise that feels hollow and manipulative. In the psychology of attraction, compliments work when sparse and sincere, highlighting unique qualities that show observation. But the barrage of "you're so beautiful" dilutes impact, signaling low standards and ulterior motives. Evolutionary speaking, it's the beta male's ploy, trading flattery for favor, ignoring that women crave challenge over ease. Stoic detachment demands better compliment from abundance, not need. You see her, truly, and note something real, but sparingly, letting tension build. The barrage of empty flattery erodes the very foundation of intrigue, leaving a man exposed as a seeker rather than a selector in the intricate web of desire. Women, evolved to discern authenticity amid the noise of modern courtship, recoil from the scripted charm that masks insecurity. Instead, the high-value male observes, engages with wit that challenges and teases, fostering a spark born of genuine polarity. He understands that attraction simmers in the unspoken tension, not in the flood of words designed to appease. This vulnerability paves the way for the sixth fatal misstep, neglecting to establish and maintain a strong masculine frame. That invisible architecture of self-assurance which guides the interaction toward mutual respect and desire. In the arena of evolutionary psychology, frame is the alpha's domain, the ability to lead without coercion, to set boundaries that command admiration rather than compliance. The man who wavers, who lets her whims dictate the conversation's flow or bends to her tests without countering, surrenders his power. Picture the date unfolding in a dimly lit cafe, her playful jab at his choices met not with defensiveness, but with calm redirection. That's one way to see it, but here's how I view the world. Yet, so many falter here, their frame crumbling under the weight of approval seeking, transforming them into mere reactors in her story. Red pill truths illuminate this. Women test instinctively, probing for resilience, for the stoic fortitude that signals a protector unshaken by storms. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In 21st century dating, where options abound and attention spans flicker like app notifications, holding frame means detachment from outcomes, conversing as if her presence is a gift, not a necessity. You feel it. that inner tug to agree, to placate, fearing the void of disagreement. Resist. Forge your frame through discipline, through the daily grind of self-improvement that builds an aura of quiet dominance. When she senses this unyielding core, attraction ignites, for polarity demands a rock against which her waves can crash without breaking. Compounding these errors, the seventh and perhaps most insidious mistake emerges, failing to escalate with purpose and timing. That delicate art of progressing from casual rapport to intimate connection without hesitation or haste. Evolutionary dynamics wire men as pursuers, yet in the modern maze of consent and mixed signals, many freeze at the threshold, their advances timid or non-existent, leaving desire to wither unspoken. The man who builds rapport but never bridges to touch a light brush on the arm, a shared laugh that lingers or who escalates clumsily, ignoring her comfort, dooms the encounter to platonic limbo. Seneca's Stoic lens cuts through. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Preparation here is calibration, reading her investment, mirroring her energy, and leading with confident intent in bustling social scenes, where alcohol loosens inhibitions and music pulses like a heartbeat. The masterful escalator senses the moment her dilated pupils, the way she leans in and acts, not out of desperation, but from abundance. Too often, men retreat into overthinking, paralyzed by rejection's shadow, forgetting that inaction is the true rejection. You know, this hesitation, that voice whispering not yet until the window slams shut. Challenge it. Embrace the red pill reality. Escalation is assertion of masculine energy, creating sexual tension that evolutionary cues crave. Done right, it transforms the mundane into the magnetic, pulling her into your orbit through bold, respectful advancement. These 7 pitfalls, woven into the fabric of unrefined masculinity, serve as chains that bind men to cycles of frustration and unfulfilled potential. Yet, in dissecting them, a path emerges not of tricks or gimmicks, but of profound self-transformation. The archetypal man who rises above embodies Stoic resilience, evolutionary wisdom, and an unapologetic embrace of his desires. He approaches not as a beggar at fortune's door, but as a warrior claiming his domain, aware that true attraction stems from inner sovereignty. In the chaotic symphony of modern romance, where digital facades mask authentic yearnings, this man stands apart, his presence a beacon amid the fog. He recognizes that women's attraction patterns favor the disciplined, the detached, those who wield social dynamics with effortless grace. Evolutionary undercurrents propel this. Survival favors the bold, the adaptable, the ones who lead tribes rather than follow whims. You, immersed in this narrative, sense the stirrings of change, that nagging doubt, the repeated heartaches. They're not fate's cruel jest, but invitations to mastery. Discipline forges the blade, self-respect hones its edge. Imagine shedding the weight of validation-seeking, stepping into interactions with the calm of Aurelius, surveying his empire. No longer do you chase, you invite. You challenge. You withdraw when standards aren't met. This is the red pill awakening. Understanding that sexual polarity isn't equality and submission, but harmony and strength and surrender. Women, in their essence, respond to this authenticity, drawn to the man who knows his value and demands reciprocity. As these insights crystallize, the journey toward masculine empowerment deepens, revealing layers of emotional fortitude and strategic acumen. The empowered male navigates dating's tempests with stoic poise, viewing each approach not as a gamble, but as practice in self-actualization. The empowered male navigates dating's tempests with stoic poise, viewing each approach not as a gamble, but as practice in self-actualization, where every interaction hones the blade of his character against the grindstone of reality. He embodies the evolutionary archetype of the hunter who adapts, who reads the terrain of human connection with the acuity of a predator attuned to subtle shifts in the wind. In this realm, mistakes transform from shackles into stepping stones, illuminating the path to a masculinity unburdened by the illusions of romantic idealism. Consider how these errors, once dissected, reveal the undercurrents of female attraction patterns, those instinctive responses shaped by millennia of survival, where strength, provision, and emotional resilience signal a worthy mate. The man who internalizes this doesn't merely avoid pitfalls, he transcends them, crafting a presence that draws women into his gravitational field through sheer authenticity. Delve deeper into the psychological tapestry. The red pill lens exposes how modern dating, with its veneer of equality and endless choices, often masks a primal dance of power and surrender. Women, navigating this landscape, seek not the polished performer, but the man whose confidence emanates from disciplined self-mastery, echoing Seneca's decree that true wealth lies in wanting less. He who chases validation external to himself becomes ensnared in a web of diminishing returns. His approach is laced with the subtle poison of insecurity. Yet, the awakened male flips the script. He sets the tone, his detachment a magnetic force that compels pursuit. Evolutionary dynamics underscore this. Social proof isn't manufactured. It's the byproduct of a life lived with purpose, where friends and allies orbit his unshakable core, amplifying his allure without effort. In crowded venues or digital exchanges, this man stands as a pillar amid fleeting distractions, his eye contact a silent command, his words laced with the poetry of challenge rather than capitulation. You sense it now, that latent power stirring within the call to shed the skin of hesitation and embrace the Stoic warrior's mantle. Imagine stepping into a conversation not as a supplicant pleading for scraps of attention, but as a king extending an invitation to his realm. Your standards become the filter through which all interactions pass, weeding out the unworthy with the calm precision of Epictetus, discerning what he can control. No longer do you pedestalize, instead, you qualify, probing her depths with questions that reveal character, fostering a polarity where her femininity blooms in response to your masculine resolve. This isn't manipulation, it's the raw honesty of red pill awareness, acknowledging that attraction thrives on tension, on the push-pull of desire unmet too easily. In 21st century scenarios, where ghosting and mixed signals abound, this mindset shields you like armor, turning potential rejections into affirmations of your path. As the narrative unfolds, the threads of these mistakes weave into a broader mosaic of masculine rebirth. The archetypal man who errs in neediness learns to cultivate abundance, drawing from inner reservoirs rather than external wells. He who misreads cues hones his intuition, becoming a maestro of social symphonies, where every glance and gesture composes the overture to connection. Pedestalizing gives way to mutual elevation, over-complimenting to sparse and impactful praise that lands like thunder. Confidence, once feigned, solidifies through relentless self-forging, while frame-holding becomes second nature, an extension of his Stoic essence. Escalation, timed with evolutionary precision, bridges the chasm from words to intimacy, igniting fires that burn steadily rather than flaring out. In this empowerment lies a profound shift, from reactive participant to deliberate architect of one's romantic destiny. Evolutionary psychology reveals that women are drawn to men who embody high value not through wealth or looks alone, but through the intangible aura of self-respect and detachment. Marcus Aurelius's reflections on impermanence serve as a guide. Attachments to outcomes breed suffering, while focus on virtuous action yields freedom. The modern male, bombarded by societal scripts of sensitivity over strength, must reclaim his polarity, understanding that authentic presence disarms defenses far more effectively than rehearsed lines. Social dynamics play out in microcosms. The bar, the coffee shop, the online message, each an arena where the disciplined prevail. You, confronted with this truth, feel the weight of past missteps lifting, replaced by the exhilaration of potential. Challenge the comfort of old habits. Step into discomfort as the crucible of growth. Discipline isn't drudgery. It's the forge where ordinary men become legends, attracting not through force, but through the irresistible pull of a life well mastered. In the red pill reality, courage to set standards isn't arrogance. It's the bedrock of mutual respect, ensuring that only those who match your fire enter your world. These insights cascade into a vision of liberated masculinity, where approaches cease to be fraught with anxiety and become expressions of unapologetic vitality. The man attuned to these principles moves through the world with the grace of a Stoic philosopher king, his interactions infused with emotional depth and strategic finesse. The man attuned to these principles moves through the world with the grace of a Stoic philosopher king, his interactions infused with emotional depth and strategic finesse. Each encounter a testament to the evolutionary forge that tempers raw instinct into refined power. He discerns the subtle undercurrents of attraction, where women's responses, those fleeting smiles, the lingering touches reveal not just interest, but the primal pull toward a mate who embodies stability amid chaos. In the red pill awakening, this discernment shatters the illusions peddled by a society that equates masculinity with appeasement, urging men instead to reclaim their sovereignty through unyielding self-respect. Evolutionary psychology lays bare the truth. Female attraction favors the provider who leads, the protector who remains unmoved by tempests of emotion, drawing her into a dance of polarity where his strength invites her surrender. Yet, in the shadows of these insights lurks the persistent specter of societal conditioning, that insidious force molding men into validation chasers, blind to the Stoic wisdom that true power resides within. Marcus Aurelius pondered the futility of external pursuits, noting how the mind's tranquility stems from aligning with nature's rhythms rather than fighting them. Applied to modern dating's digital coliseum, this means approaching with the detachment of a seasoned gladiator engaged, yet uninvested in the crowd's roar. The archetypal male who masters this doesn't merely avoid the 7 mistakes. He alchemizes them into fuel for ascension, transforming neediness into abundance, miscalibration into intuition, pedestalizing into qualification. His confidence, no longer a mask, radiates from the core of disciplined habits, the gym sessions at dawn, the books devoured under lamplight, the rejections embraced as rites of passage. Social proof follows naturally, as allies gravitate to his orbit, amplifying his presence in rooms where lesser men fade into wallpaper. You feel the resonance of this transformation, that inner fire kindling as old patterns crumble. No more do you approach with the beggar's outstretched hand. Instead, you extend an offer from a position of fullness, challenging her to rise to your level or step aside. This is the red pill's harsh poetry. In a world of fleeting connections and superficial swipes, the man who sets boundaries becomes the enigma, his detachment a siren call to those weary of mediocrity. Evolutionary dynamics play their part here, wiring women to respond to cues of high value, the subtle dominance in your posture, the teasing banter that sparks tension without resolution. Stoic philosophy reinforces it. Epictetus's dichotomy of control teaches that while you can't dictate her feelings, you command your actions, turning every interaction into a canvas for masculine artistry. Deeper still, the narrative threads reveal how these mistakes often stem from a fractured sense of self, a disconnection from the primal masculine essence that thrives on purpose and conquest. The man ensnared by overcomplimenting learns the art of restraint, his words becoming arrows that pierce rather than scatter. He who falters in frame-holding rebuilds it brick by brick, through daily affirmations of worth that echo Seneca's counsel against craving what lies beyond one's grasp. Escalation, once a stumbling block, evolves into a symphony of intent, timed with the precision of a hunter closing on prey, respecting her boundaries while asserting his desires. In 21st century battlegrounds, from rooftop parties pulsing with bass to quiet walks under city lights, this integrated male navigates with effortless command. His approach is laced with the emotional charge of authentic presence. As momentum builds, the psychological depths unfold further. Attraction isn't a transaction, but a resonance of energies, where sexual polarity ignites when masculine discipline meets feminine fluidity. Red pill realities strip away the fairy tales, exposing how women's tests, those sly provocations, serve to vet for resilience, weeding out the weak from the worthy. The empowered man welcomes them, responding with poise that turns potential conflict into deepened connection. Evolutionary undercurrents drive this. Survival favors the adaptable alpha, whose social acumen builds alliances and attracts mates without overt striving. Stoic insights elevate it, reminding that self-mastery liberates from the tyranny of desire, allowing approaches to flow from abundance rather than scarcity. You, awakened to this vista, confront the choice, cling to familiar errors, or forge ahead into uncharted strength. Imagine the liberation, the weight of anxiety dissolving as you embody the courage to walk away from mismatch. Your standards, a shield against emotional erosion. This mindset shift cascades, infusing every facet of life with purposeful intensity. From career ambitions to personal growth, all converging to amplify your magnetic field. In this unfolding saga of masculine rebirth, the lessons crystallize into a blueprint for transcendence, where past pitfalls illuminate the road to unassailable confidence and relational dominance. In this unfolding saga of masculine rebirth, the lessons crystallize into a blueprint for transcendence, where past pitfalls illuminate the road to unassailable confidence and relational dominance, each error a shadow cast by the light of potential untapped. The archetypal male, rising from the ashes of his former self, embodies the evolutionary victor who adapts not through force, but through the subtle mastery of his environment. He perceives women's attraction as a mirror to his own value, reflecting back the discipline he invests, the boundaries he enforces, the polarity he maintains amid the cacophony of modern distractions. Red pill revelations strip away the comforting lies, exposing how societal narratives emasculate, urging men to prioritize harmony over hierarchy, only to leave them adrift in a sea of unreciprocated effort. Yet, in embracing Stoic fortitude, this man reclaims his throne, approaching with the calculated poise of a general surveying the field, his presence alone shifting the dynamics in his favor. Evolutionary undercurrents pulse through every interaction, reminding that attraction favors the man who signals abundance not in material excess, but in emotional sovereignty, where detachment from outcomes becomes his greatest weapon. Seneca's reflections on the brevity of life urge a rejection of trivial pursuits. Why squander energy on unworthy connections when self-mastery yields infinite returns? In the digital age's relentless scroll, where profiles blur into sameness, the distinguished male stands out through authentic presence, his conversations laced with depth, challenging her intellect while evoking her instincts. Social proof accrues organically, as his calibrated approaches draw admirers, creating a vortex of desirability that evolutionary psychology deems irresistible. Women, wired for selection, gravitate toward this aura, their tests met not with defensiveness, but with the unyielding frame of a man who knows his worth exceeds any single encounter. You confront this truth in the quiet moments of reflection, that gnawing realization that past approaches were laced with the subtle desperation of a hunter chasing phantoms. Feel the shift, the empowerment surging as you internalize these principles, transforming hesitation into bold assertion. No longer do you overinvest. Instead, you qualify with the precision of Epictetus discerning essence from illusion. probing her values to ensure alignment with your standards. This is the red pill's unyielding gaze, understanding that sexual polarity thrives when masculine resolve invites feminine openness, not through supplication, but through mutual elevation. In bustling urban nights or serene park encounters, you lead with intent. Your escalation, a natural progression born of attuned energy, fostering connections that burn with genuine fire rather than fizzle in platonic ash. Deeper layers unravel, revealing how these mistakes often root in a disconnection from primal courage, that innate drive to claim space in a world that seeks to diminish it. The man who once pedestalized learns to view women as equals in the dance, not idols on high. His compliments rare jewels that highlight true merit. Confidence, forged in the crucible of discipline, radiates without effort, drawing her in like gravity. Frame-holding becomes an art form, a stoic bulwark against emotional tempests, while reading cues evolves into intuitive mastery, allowing him to navigate the ebb and flow of desire with effortless grace. Evolutionary dynamics affirm this path. Survival's script rewards the adaptable, the ones who escalate not from need, but from a wellspring of self-assured vitality. As the psychological mosaic completes, the empowered male emerges as a beacon of masculine independence. His approach is no longer fraught with the fear of loss, but infused with the thrill of possibility. Marcus Aurelius's meditations on inner citadels remind that true freedom lies in controlling the controllable, your mindset, your actions, your boundaries. In 21st century dating's labyrinth, this translates to walking away from mismatch without regret. Your standards a compass, guiding toward reciprocal passion. Red pill insights sharpen the edge. Women respect the man who values himself enough to detach. His nonchalance a potent aphrodisiac in a landscape of eager suitors. You sense the liberation building, that profound release as validation-seeking fades, replaced by the deep-seated confidence of a life aligned with purpose. Challenge the inertia. Step into the arena with the warrior's heart, knowing each interaction hones your edge. This is the Stoic's triumph, transmuting errors into wisdom, forging a masculinity that attracts through sheer gravitational force. The narrative crescendos toward ultimate emancipation, where the chains of common mistakes dissolve, unveiling a man unbound by external whims, his essence a magnet for authentic connection. The narrative crescendos toward ultimate emancipation, where the chains of common mistakes dissolve, unveiling a man unbound by external whims, his essence a magnet for authentic connection in the vast, unpredictable expanse of human desire. This liberated archetype stands as the culmination of evolutionary refinement, a figure who has traversed the psychological wilderness of self-doubt and emerged with the stoic clarity of one who commands his fate, no longer ensnared by the illusions of neediness or miscalibration. He moves through social landscapes with the predatory grace of an alpha attuned to the rhythms of attraction, reading the unspoken language of bodies and glances, qualifying with discerning eyes that separate fleeting sparks from enduring flames. Red pill truths have etched themselves into his being, revealing how women's attraction patterns, shaped by primal imperatives, favor the man whose value shines intrinsic, unmarred by the desperation that taints lesser pursuits. In this freedom, he embodies masculine independence. His approaches no longer quests for validation, but expressions of a sovereign will, drawing those worthy into his orbit while the rest fade into irrelevance. Evolutionary dynamics pulse beneath it all, whispering that survival's grand design rewards not the clamorous suitor, but the detached selector whose presence alone evokes surrender. Seneca's austere wisdom echoes here. The wise man finds contentment in what he possesses, craving nothing beyond his grasp. And in dating's modern theater, this translates to an unshakable detachment from outcomes. The empowered male walks away from mismatch with the ease of shedding worn armor, his clarity and standards a blade that cuts through ambiguity, ensuring only reciprocal energy enters his realm. Social proof accretes around him, not through contrived displays, but as a natural consequence of his disciplined life, friends and admirers orbiting like planets around a sun, amplifying his allure in environments where others scramble for scraps. Sexual polarity reaches its zenith in this state, where his masculine frame invites her feminine essence to unfold, creating a tension electric with possibility, untarnished by the over-eagerness that once sabotaged his advances. You feel the gravity of this shift, that profound unshackling as independence from external validation becomes your bedrock, fueling a confidence deeper than any fleeting conquest. Imagine striding into the fray, standards held high like a banner, the power to walk away, your ultimate leverage, not a retreat, but a declaration of self-worth that reverberates through every interaction. No more do you chase shadows, you stand resolute, attracting through the quiet thunder of inner mastery. This is the Stoics' victory, as Epictetus proclaimed, mastering what lies within while releasing the uncontrollable, transforming the chaos of modern romance into a canvas for your unapologetic artistry. In the archetypal depths, this masculine freedom manifests as a rejection of societal scripts that bind men to performative sensitivity, urging instead a return to primal authenticity where discipline forges unbreakable resolve. The man who once faltered in escalation now leads with purposeful intent, his timing impeccable, bridging rapport to intimacy with the confidence of one who knows rejection as mere redirection. Pedestalizing dissolves into mutual respect, over-complimenting into sparse affirmations that land with impact, each element recalibrated to serve the greater harmony of polarity. Evolutionary psychology affirms this evolution. Women, navigating a world of abundance, select for the rare male whose detachment signals abundance of his own, his social acumen a beacon in the fog of superficial encounters. Marcus Aurelius's meditations on impermanence reinforce the mindset attachments breed suffering, while clarity in walking away liberates the spirit, allowing desire to flow without grasping. As these threads converge, the narrative reveals the profound beauty of this independence, a life where masculine principles reign supreme, unburdened by the weight of unreciprocated longing. The red pill lens sharpens the view, exposing how 21st century dynamics with their digital veils and instant gratifications demand a man of stoic fiber, one whose inner confidence radiates like an unquenchable flame, drawing women not through pursuit, but through the irresistible pull of his elevated existence. He sets standards not as barriers, but as invitations to those who match his caliber, his power to detach a testament to self-respect that echoes through generations of evolutionary wisdom. You, standing at this precipice, embrace the call to this exalted state, where freedom from validation's chains unlocks a dominion over desire. Your confidence a deep wellspring that quenches without need for external rains. In this clarity, approaches become symphonies of mutual discovery, each step an affirmation of your sovereign path. The man who knows his worth chases nothing. He attracts everything,